Welcome to Persistence U podcast, episode 100. I've had some in-between episodes, but this is officially episode 100, end of season 2. And for 2 weeks, I will not have new episodes. It's Elizabeth Meredith, and so good to see you or hear you, or for you to hear me, frankly, depending on how you're consuming the podcast today. And I'm really excited because episode 100 coincides with the very end of the year, pretty much, and well, kind of much, maybe a week early. I think that's fabulous because it's just a good time to celebrate. And if you've been on the podcast, you know this podcast was started to create community, and it is really about survivors and strivers. And when you think about it, all of us the last couple of years have been if you're here, you're a survivor. We have gone through a lot. So at the end of every year, I like to reflect on not just what I want the next year to look like, but really kind of think about a year ago today, what things did I not know? And what have I learned this year through fail and try and fail? Good times and bad. I like to reflect on that a little bit. And I just wanted you to join me for the journey. And by the way, please do check out the backlist because now we have 99 episodes with guests. Today, it's just me as my guest. But I wanted to think about a few things that have been on my mind, which is over the last year, just celebrating our efforts rather than always the outcome. This has been kind of a crazy year. I know it has been globally, economically, in so many ways. And so I'm not that special when I say that it's been a doozy. And in 2022, well, it reminds me of something I used to say when I was a supervisor for probation officers. If you work in a field like probation, you get scrutinized on your client's progress. And so we get grant funding so that when we demonstrate certain things have happened with our client's progress, if we're applying for grants, so we want to measure the outcomes. And the probation officer themselves felt like, oh, I could not force the person to engage in substance abuse treatment or mental health treatment or whatever. So I missed the mark. And in a way, it was an unfair sort of measure. We need to measure in general, I think, in life, our own efforts. We need to celebrate them, even if they don't turn out always as we'd hoped. We want to celebrate that we're doing new things, we're pressing on, we're moving forward, and we are persisting. So that's something I've thought of this year. When I look back on my own journey, a year ago, I learned in November that the movie based on my book was going to be made. And by March of 2022, Stolen by Their Father, based on pieces of me rescuing my kidnapped daughters, was launched on March 5th. So the very beginning of the year. And it was so exciting. And of course, I didn't write the movie. It's not mine I wrote the story originally, but I celebrated the movie because the production company did a wonderful job. I didn't know what all would hit next as far as how many wonderful people reached out and how many people are still suffering with similar issues. And it was overwhelming. It did kind of take over my life for a while until I figured out I just couldn't respond individually to every person. But it was wonderful all the same. It was a lot of work to get that project there, and it was something to celebrate. A year ago, I was new to Chattanooga. And so here a year later, I feel like I have a few friends and I have somewhat of a routine. And, I am celebrating that has been huge for an older person to undergo and to choose for herself and make it work. So grateful for that. I'm so grateful this year when I look back from a year ago to now that I've been able to see some family more. Of course, I've seen my daughters less, but when I see them, it's been intensive times and wonderful. But I get to see extended family, some of them a little more, and that a lot more really than I used to, and that's lovely. I'm so grateful for that. And I got to take a fabulous trip with my oldest daughter. That was a dream, maybe the last dream trip, but it was her college graduation postponed before the pandemic till now. And we took a beautiful trip. I really, when I think about things I've done like substitute teaching, and I love taking coaching. I love starting my coaching practice, but taking a class on coaching, taking a class on, what else am I taking now? Right now, doing speaking in colleges, but doing it more succinctly and having an intentional message rather than just telling my same story. I love continuing education. That's been delightful. But probably like you, this year has been so up and down. And so deaths in the family and, friends having hard times and getting scammed one time financially that really hit me hard. Jobs not turning out as I'd hoped, some turning out better than I expected. It's just real life. And so, yeah, I feel like if I look at the year in review and I think of the things, and I hope that you think of the things that you've tried, where you were a year ago to now, new skills you've learned, new lessons you've learned, sometimes the hard way, sometimes easily. It's exciting. It's exciting. And I appreciate that so much. And I have loved continuing my education past my graduate degree. I've loved it. Taken copywriting and marketing classes and coaching, and now the speaking class. That really helps if you're feeling like you are stuck in a rut or you need a little more to add to your dimension to your life. Do it, whether it's a writing class or a rock painting course, whatever it is. There are things you can do that are affordable. And I feel like that's been a really great thing this year. But I think the main thing is just staying in community and celebrating relationships, even if you don't see them physically, staying in touch during holidays. When I personally, the month of December, I wake up, the only thing I look forward to is going back to bed, unless I force myself to get exercise, to try to eat more good than bad, and try to keep a good, steady routine of self-care. It's better done in community. I get up at 6:30 a.m. twice a week to go walking with a couple of friends here in Tennessee, and they're dark and cold morning, not because I love getting up early, but it helps to get moving forward. So anyway, I love doing some things, not everything, because I am a true introvert, but I love doing some of the working on goals or commiserating in community. Thanks for being a part of this community. I have been awestruck at the stories that I've been able to share with you this year, and this season particularly enjoyed it so very much. So I hope you'll enjoy going over the backlist, enjoy listening to people who, if they were sending you a Christmas card letter, this has always been my goal with the podcast. You know how in the holiday seasons, you'll get letters from certain people that and it's like, oh, my son's going to Harvard. My daughter just had our third perfect grandchild. My husband got 5 raises and I adore my new job. It's everything that's perfect, perfect, perfect. And it unfortunately can inspire during a dark season and during a season when many of us have lost people. It can inspire feelings of envy or sadness or darkness. And so I love that I haven't had podcast guests that do that. When they come on this show, what I always am looking for is people to tell their authentic story of persistence and to let you see and hear a glimpse of their heart, not of their resume. And I hope we can get even better at that this next season, giving people hope and inspiration based on our humanity, sometimes our brokenness, our humor. Certainly we celebrate successes also, but we don't lord them over other people, and we don't pretend that any one of us has the exact recipe for success, because none of us do. None of us know everything. And so it's just a great place to be in community. I hope you've enjoyed it. Different ways to connect with me. I have a coaching spot available now. That's once a week, but it all starts with a free coaching one-on-one session, a discovery session, to see if we're a good fit. If you are someone who has gone through something that maybe it's a transition in your life, you're a new empty nester, maybe you've had a spouse or a child that has died, if you are trying to have more of you in your life and you have to shuffle a whole bunch of other habits and relationships to make that happen, sign up for a free coaching session and see if we should work together. It's not therapy, it's more of an accountability buddy to walk you through and help you get new skills to scale what you're going through. The other way to connect more often is be a patron. And if you're my patron on patreon.com, once a month, you'll have access to me. We'll try with roundtables and workshops just for those who support either for $2 a month or $5 a month subscription. That's not a week, that's a month. So that's another way we can connect. Adore having you in the community. Thanks so much for listening to Persistence You with Lisbeth. For your comments, for your downloads, for every share and review, I thank you so much and appreciate that you have honored the work that I'm doing. Have a great holiday season. Some of you, it's Christmas, others not. Have a wonderful new year if we don't speak before then. And I can't wait to see what 2023 brings and the changes it makes in all of us. Take care.